And in fact, you should tell us this. Let's start there. Who is Tionne Talbot?
So, as you said, I'm a 24-year-old mother. In my late teenage years, I unfortunately was in a abusive relationship. Of course, it was less time than most women endure, but during that time, it was very, very, very painful.
Traumatic.
Yes, it was traumatic.
Yeah.
And after I left the relationship, I visited a therapist, and the therapist told me, journaling helps with, the trauma.
Yeah.
So I started writing, but in my opinion, journaling became boring. So instead of just writing down what it was, I started writing poems. And recently, I'd say a couple months ago, I came up upon the poems that I wrote 6 years ago.
Oh, you had them scribbled down somewhere,
yes,
right?
I had them in an old notebook. So I came across them and decided to read through them. And while reading through them, I said, okay, maybe I revise some of them. So I started doing that, and that revision turned into talking about what I went through when I left it, and how I went about healing from it.
Before this experience, and before going to your therapist, as you mentioned, did you have any interest in poetry beforehand?
I am an avid reader.
Okay.
Love reading. So the writing wasn't too far away.
All right.
In high school, I used to do a lot of short stories. Never poetry, but short stories. And so when the poetry idea came about, it flowed a lot easier.
Yeah. And you say that what you've written here reflects your experiences, basically expressing yourself. And I can see, it says some of the titles: "The Night I Fell in Love," "He Missed," "The Green Monster," "Obsessed Before Us," "Who Couldn't Leave," "The Other Room," "The Other Woman," "The Baby Was Never New," KNEW. I love that one. "The Almost Game," "The Taste of Dirt."
All of the songs, like, and I guess this is what stands out, is that it sounds like, you have a novel and there's different chapters, and they have like a title which kind of might indicate what you will go into. Now, this is poetry, which means that you have a certain amount of lines, but it does tell a compelling story, I would assume.
Yes, it compacts everything in it. So while reading it, you get the full understanding of what's happening, as if you would if you're reading the story itself, the entire story.
All right. How has poetry helped you with the whole healing process? Has it been extremely therapeutic for you to overcome what you've experienced?
Yes. So basically, when I started writing the poetry, it was a mix of me remembering what was happening, and while remembering, I have it in my mind, you're not in it anymore. You can write about it, you can talk about it, you're not in it anymore. You don't have to hide it from anyone. So while writing it, I kept telling myself, you're out, you don't have to worry about this anymore.
How did you get out? Because we know from experience, you mentioned earlier you're not in the abusive relationship as long as others, because what we understand is that women who are in it find it difficult to leave. How did you manage that?
So a lot of the times that I tried to leave, it would be instances where he threatened me or threatened to hurt my parents, my siblings. So what basically happened was there was an instance where I had to leave home. And while I was leaving home, he found me, thinking that I was leaving him. In actuality, I was. But and during that time period, what had happened was, and I have it in there, but he and his friends, they all attacked me.
Wow.
And they had me in his home for, I'd say, approximately 2 weeks. And during that time period, they had, at the house, they had an outhouse, we'd say. And the outhouse was at the back of the yard.
Okay.
So I wasn't allowed to go out to, say, use the bathroom. So one day I woke up with stomach pains, extreme stomach pains, and I told him, I got to go to the hospital. You don't have a job, I don't have a job. but I gotta leave. I have to go to the hospital. And so he's like, well, I can take you to the hospital here, because this is in Belmopan, mind you. He said, I can take you to the hospital here. And I said, my dad has insurance. Let me reach out to him, and then we'll go to, a hospital in the city, and that'll work. And he's like, and are you sure you're going to come back? So I said, yes. I spell out whatever I needed to tell him how much I loved him and everything, so that he would agree to let me come. And I packed my stuff and I came down to my aunt. And for weeks after that, he followed. For a while, I couldn't go back to Bamapan. And the one time I did, he tried to do it again. And in that process, my mom kind of figured, in the process, my mom kind of figured out what was going on. And she called my stepdad and told my stepdad, you got to go out there at him. And my stepdad went and had this conversation with him. I don't know what conversation it was. But from then, I hadn't really had the problem with him. And it made me realize that if I had opened up and tell them about it a long time ago, then maybe it would have stopped sooner rather than when it did.
So he was like a benevolent abuser in a sense. I mean, you had that, because where was your family then? They weren't aware that this was going on? No. And when they did find out, they thought it was just a simple relationship that I had with him, rather than the abuse and everything that came along with it. You hid it from them in a sense.
Yes, I hid it from everyone, my friends, my family. I eventually ended at the end of it. I didn't really have any friends. I kind of pushed all of them away. Yeah.
That's what they do. That's what abusers do. They keep you away from your friends. Okay, you wrote, this one is Sunflowers. And I like the wording here. He gave me flowers to silence me. I wrote poems to scream. Incredible.
Now, I notice that there's a name there, Sumaya. Is that your pen name that you go by? Any significant reason as to why you chose Sumaya? Does it have any meaning, deeper meaning?
So I'm currently married.
Okay.
I married a Muslim man.
Okay.
And Sumaya, the name is the Muslim name that I took on.
Okay.
It's really about a woman that was a martyr for her religion.
You wrote to, well, this is Sunflowers?
Yes.
Is it available somewhere? Can I?
So I'm working right now with CLO's printing on Princess Margaret Drive by the roundabout.
Okay.
To get more printed so that I can start working on pricing too.
And there's another book. Is that before Made of Mouth and Memory?
And Made of Mouth and Memory was after this one.
Okay, and you're working on a new one called Letters
to the Dead.
To the Dead. Okay, let me just. I just opened this by at random, and then I noticed, I don't know which one I should read first, but the title of this one is Run, Little Girl, and I could. This is when it was happening, I would think.
Yeah.
It says, "Run away, little girl," she whispered. "You don't belong in this world of chains and silence. Run before it's too late." So I did. I ran with broken feet and a burning heart. But I was already caught, already caged, and now I sit in a quieter prison, the one I built while believing I'd escaped them. And then the other one, it says, the other one is chain of obsession. Am I being punished? Unrequited love. Is it some cruel form of punishment? A sentence written deep in my skin? Or is it obsession? The only thing you ever taught me. I didn't know how to love, so I learned how to fixate, to clutch at shadows of every past love, just like you clutched at me. It tells a story. This is really deep. When do you get the time to write? I know the first one you had it already scribbled somewhere, and you got a collection and put it together. But now new inspirations are coming. They all from the same experience?
It's
Because this one definitely comes deep
yeah.
from what you went through, obviously, from the two I read. And the other titles, I Hope You See Me. You have one here titled 12:33 a.m. So this is your life you went through.
Yeah. So that one, obviously is from the abusive relationship. Made of Mouth and Memory is basically what it's like to be a woman. It's that is the perfect way to describe it. What it's like to be a woman.
Okay.
In all aspects, when it comes
women
to
generically, or women under certain circumstances.
no woman, but it's like to be a woman when it comes to being out working, when it comes to having kids, when it comes to reproductive issues, when it comes to the rage. Sometimes we feel about certain injustice. So that's what it's about. And then Letter to the Dead. This year I lost both my grandmas, and yeah, so that's mostly where it started. I haven't really. The first time I've experienced a death close to me was in 2016 when my aunt passed away. She was practically another mother to my brother and I. So I had different ways with dealing with that. And then 2 years ago, a close friend of mine got sick and she passed away as well. So, it's been dealing with that and then the two deaths this year. So that kind of gave me an idea, especially given the other day I told my mom, it was the first time in years that I dreamt of my aunt. And we had this conversation in my dream and I was like, these are stuff that I wish I could sit and talk to you about. And that's where Letter to the Dead started.
Did you, now you say you're married into the Muslim faith, do you find that as an escape? Because, a woman's place in the Muslim faith is a little more conservative than generally. Did you find that because of what happened to you in the past, you found it easier to transition into something where you'd be more respected and more conservative when it comes to being a woman?
It feels freeing. It honestly feels freeing. I can't say anything aside from that because, people have their own thoughts and opinions, towards it. But there's a lot about what happened with that book that I can see the opposite of it that's currently in my life. It's completely different. It's kind of like of course you're free, but like you said, you're being a respectable woman, as opposed to being forced to be this type of woman, being forced to be the kind of woman that if you're out in public and you see something, you don't say something.
Right. Let me hand this to you, because I did a very poor job of reading your emotions, but I'm sure you have a favorite one that. But let me ask. But by doing this, you keep bringing back the memories. Some people will say, well, why you do that? You won't forget.
It's really not about bringing back the memories. You see, the thing is, and I always tell people this that I talk to, one of the biggest things about being in an abusive relationship, whether it may be emotional or physical, is a lot of people bottle it inside. They sit with all of that pain inside, and because of that, it makes people do the absolute craziest of things. And that's what I did primarily. And that have you reached to a point where you feel like, you don't want to be here anymore? So I tell a lot of people, if you're in a situation like that, maybe you don't want to talk to anyone. Maybe you don't want to talk to a friend. You don't want to talk to family. If you're a believer in God, sit and talk to God. If you're not, sit and say it out loud, because it's real. Sit and say it out loud so everyone around you, even if you're in the room by yourself, sit and say it out loud. Because if you say it out loud, then it gives you the confidence. It boosts your confidence to go and, what?
Did somebody tell you to do that, or you just figured it out? You know why? Because experts tell you to do that. So when you have a problem or your word, sit down in a room by yourself and say it or scream or express yourself, and it'll give you some freedom.
This was my first relationship. So I did the same thing. Again, I bottled it inside. And I remember one night I was here in the city and I sat and started talking. I talked, I talked, and I talked.
To
I
yourself?
cried, yes. I cried and I said, you know what?
It was all pent up.
Maybe I need to tell somebody. And that night, I was living with my cousin at the time. That night she came from work and I sat in the kitchen with her and I told her everything that was happening. And that was what made me figure that my mom had an idea, because my cousin and my mom are close. So I knew she called my mom, probably called my mom and told my mom, what was happening.
Okay, why don't you read something for us? Let's hear, coming from the source.
So this is my favorite one. And it's my favorite one because it happens a lot where there's instances where domestic violence happens in relationships, and then you'll hear the partner kill the other and then kill themselves.
Yeah.
So this one is named Always Together. It was 2 a.m., after music, after drinks, after pretending we were normal. We curled into the hammock, his head on my shoulder, the sky spilling stars like secrets. He told me about his father, how he beat his mother until she bled silence, how he watched and did nothing because he was small and afraid and only a boy. He cried like a child who'd never been held right. Said he wanted to be better, but he didn't know how. Said he was failing, and I whispered, me too. I told him I wish I could die, that I didn't know how to keep waking up to a life that kept breaking me. And he said, I'll kill you if you want, and then I'll kill myself, so we'll always be together. And I don't know what hurt more, the fact that he meant it, or the fact that for a moment it sounded like love.
Another studies of abuse, they say that the woman tends to forgive the man or blame herself. Is that what I'm hearing in that? Yeah, you take up for like
Yeah.
Creole.
Yeah.
Why does the woman do that?
I think it has more to do with, especially with women who crave to be loved. I think that is where it stems from, because that was who I was.
Yeah.
I craved to be loved. And while we were talking, like, there was an instance where I got a tag on Facebook. I was a part of the BFLA youth group as a teen, and I was tagged in a post by one of the members in the group from a retreat that we went on, and he saw it on my Facebook page, being that this is a male that tagged me, and he went into this jealous rage, and he started going off. And for a while I sat and I thought, you have male friends and you don't know what's going on in this man's mind. And there's a point where they tell you all the pretty things that makes you fall in love, makes you think you are loved. So when you feel like that's going away, you want to hold on to it, you want to grab onto it, you don't want to let it go.
And you think it's your fault.
Yeah, and that's where you start thinking, this is because of me. I gotta go fix it. But then, of course, there's a point where you start thinking, what am I doing every day for this to happen to me repeatedly? What am I doing wrong? How can I fix this? How can I do better? And there's no better.
There's no better.
There's no better.
You're a mother?
Yes, I am.
Tell us about your child.
So I have a 2-year-old son.
Okay. But it's not from that relationship?
No.
No, okay.
No. Funniest little boy you'll ever met. I in the book, I wrote a poem for him because it took me some time to realize how much healing I had to do in order to be a good mother to him. And so the other day I read the book to my husband for the first time. And I told him I was never to read it because I was afraid that at certain points I'll cry. But I did not shed a tear until I got to the poem for my son. And it kind of made me realize how much I've changed over the past.
And I
couple
suspect
years.
you found the love you were craving for.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, I did.
Before you go, honey, read us another one.
Sure.
Yeah. And Tionne Talbot is in the studio with us, folks, and I'm sure her story is moving. And like I said earlier, Rich, we are meeting Belizeans from all walks of life.
Yeah, there are many that we don't know, we see every day, although knowing their stories.
That's
But
right.
it's good that we're hearing some of them.
Okay.
Okay, so this one is named A Fateful Thursday.
A faithful.
Thursday.
Okay.
I was a glass left too close to the edge. One more nudge and I'd spill into something unrecognizable. I let the night hold me, let it promise something soft, a forgetting, a dance, a safe ride home. But they came like shutters slipping through cracks in the door, fingers that knew how to twist silence into surrender. They carved their names into a body I was already trying to give back. And when the sun returned, they handed me blame in a cup I never asked to drink from. Said I invited the darkness, said I left the door open, said the way I broke looked a little like begging. I washed myself until memories bled from my pores, but nothing cleans the kind of dirt that learns your name. I became ghost-like again, a window that won't open, a lock that rusted shut. And every man sounded like him, and every room looked like the ditch I never climbed out of. I almost didn't survive what they did, but mostly I almost didn't survive what it reminds me of.
The books are available. None of it is available right now, you said?
No.
No.
We're currently
Okay.
working on that.
And that'll be all of them, or
Yes,
just some
all of
first?
them.
All of them.
Mhm.
Well, you need to come back and tell us when they are available.
Okay.
And we have been inspired.
I will say that there are some people who are watching right now, who, they're saying that they're proud of you, I guess your aunt, Vanessa,
Yes.
and then of course, I believe you work for Transparent BPO,
Yes.
so they are in tune as well. And I don't know if they then pass calls to say, all right, we're going to listen to this right now.
Thanks again, Tionne Talbot,
Thank you for
and
having
all the
me.
best to you, dear. I know you made us feel good.
All right.
Okay, Rich.
Yeah. So in closing, just a few things before we officially close off. Just want to run through what we had today because, like you said, it was a very interesting show. One that's extremely unique, I would say,
Yeah.
on this Friday from the other Fridays. We started off obviously with the Social Security Board.